So last night was the first time in the 2010 Winter Olympics that Team USA and Team Canada would face off against each other in the great sport of hockey. And you know who was victorious? USA! USA! And who was their goalie? Ryan Miller of the Buffalo Sabres. Now, watching Olympic coverage, I was able to hear the NBC commentators kind of give their take on things, and you get to see some of the American sports fans from down on the street level and what they think, and they'll typically say stuff like this: USA all the way! Or, USA, greatest country in the world, baby. Which are all nice thoughts and really flattering things to say about your home country, but those fall into the category of what I really wanted to talk about tonight, which is rhetoric. Rhetoric is one of those things we hear all the time. For those of you who spend a lot of time watching political coverage or are really plugged into current event stuff, you know that both political parties that are prevalent in the United States use rhetoric all the time. Whether it's true or not, they like to say things that empower the base, that put down their opponents, but really have no substance, and if pressed, they probably couldn't define them if they wanted to. As the Olympics have progressed over the last couple weeks, you can see that that rhetoric is especially prevalent when talking about nationalism. You have statements like, "These colors don't run," and "God bless America," which is a lot of good rhetoric, but at the same time you have to ask yourself, is any of that true? What does "these colors don't run" even mean? And does God really bless America based on something that we've earned arbitrarily, or whether it's something that God blesses every country? Or like, what does that even mean? And you hear it a lot of times. You hear it a lot of times in religion, which I hear rhetoric all the time because I happen to be in the field of vocational ministry, in the business of religion. I hear people use rhetoric all the time, and it drives me bonkers. Like, for instance, if someone's having a hard time with something and they tell me that they finally decide to lay that decision at the foot of the cross. What does that even mean? I'm a pastor. I went to school for 4 years to get an educational ministries degree, and I would have a difficult time defining to you what exactly that looks like. It's something that sounds nice, but what does that mean? So here's where I think the worthlessness of rhetoric kind of exposes itself. Let's look at the statements made about the United States at the Olympics. When people have said that the United States is the greatest country in the world, what are we basing that on? Most medals won at the Olympics, and if that's the measuring stick that you're willing to say that we're the greatest country in the world, then I guess at the moment, yeah, we currently have the highest medal count. But if we're talking about best healthcare for its citizens, then no. Best education, we're not even in the top half of all the countries in the world. If we're talked about infant mortality rates, of lifespan of its citizens, the list goes on and on and on. That's not only rhetoric, those are just complete falsehoods. Where I've come to on the issue of rhetoric is this: it's ultimately a divisive method of speech. It breaks the world down into us and them. It doesn't foster an us or a we or any sort of the group mentality. It draws lines and creates boxes of us and them. You're either on my side of the rhetorical argument or you're not. It doesn't further discussion. It doesn't deepen understanding or communication or relationship. All it does is simply put up barricades and falsehoods and all the things that aren't healthy and constructive at building relationships that are life-changing or meaningful in any capacity. That's just what I've been thinking about lately, trying to examine my patterns of speech. What are things that I say that are completely rhetorical, that don't really seem to have any sort of real value but just sound nice? And you'd be surprised what kind of stuff comes up. If you have any statements that you know people say that drive you crazy, or things that you say that you catch yourself saying, drop them in the comments below. My personal pet peeve is when people say, everything happens for a reason. And for some reason, I hear religious people, especially Christians, say this all the time. It's not in the Bible. It doesn't make any sense at all that everything happens for a reason. I am in ministry. I see people's broken, messed up stuff on a regular basis, and I don't think everything happens for a reason. I think it's just a nice little platitude that we say to people because it's easier than delving into the messy gray area that is this life that we all occupy together. So that is my 2 cents. That is my rant and rave for the evening. You all have a great night, and I will talk to you later. Go Ryan Miller.